Hello and welcome to the Above Board podcast from Fathom Analytics. I am, as usual, Paul Jarvis, and I'm joined, as usual, by my co-founder, Jack Ellis. Good morning, or good afternoon, or guten tag, sir.
Hello.
This could be generated by AI. Like, this could be us not actually talking. I realized in the recording software that we use, you can train AI with your voice by uploading a track of like 5 minutes or more. And then if you're editing the transcript, it will AI build audio that you didn't actually say, but that uses your voice. I haven't actually tried it yet, so maybe I'll do that in this episode. And I don't know if people will notice. I don't know if I'll notice.
It's weird.
We'll see.
It's people like the human connection, so it's funny to see all the AI stuff. AI in logical places and doing work and helping you think and being an assistant and all that makes sense. But replacing the human element, people talking about that, even AI art, that's not going to hit the same as you think about all the famous artists of history. People cared about them. The artist is as important as the art itself. The artist is part of the art. Same with music, right? I mean, you think about the bands and the artists you like. The artist is relevant. Like when Gary Glitter, the stuff came out that he's a pedophile, it suddenly ruins the thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people don't listen to R. Kelly anymore.
R. Kelly's another good example, yeah.
But I just wanted to in editing of this podcast, I just want to type ha 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 for both of us, like for 5 minutes and see what AI does. Like if it actually makes us laugh. Yeah. So
like on RB and the Chief. I mean, this isn't your generation, but RB and the Chief is
no idea.
It's like a ha ha ha. They use Microsoft's text to voice to do the voice of the Master Chief. It's ridiculously. I used to watch it when I was a kid. It was funny.
Oh man!
But that's exactly what it will be like.
Yeah. So this episode, we're talking about AI and I guess the ethics of AI. And I think this all started when we tried Slack for, what was it, like a week?
Yep.
And then you tweeted about it.
Than a week.
And then you tweeted about it and blew up the internet.
Yeah. So, I mean, the news came out that Slack was basically saying that they want to train their AI system on your data. And it's funny because people are like, oh, they're not going to train on your personal data. But I did read it and I read the terms and conditions and it was concerning. It was going to be no one else can access it, but you can access something that's to help you use Slack. And it was a bunch of stuff. I've honestly purged it from my memory, but the too long didn't read. And the problem that I had was, oh, hey, if you don't want this, just opt out. And I think, well, no, how about we opt in if we want it? Don't opt us into your AI model stuff. It's still in its infancy. I mean, and the thing is, that tweet I did went viral, but we didn't, and everyone goes, oh, but you've already put your personal information there, so you're too late. And I go, ha, 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 no, we didn't, dick. The people on Twitter sometimes, just some of the trolls, do my head in. They just want to try and one-up you. We'd only been using it for a little while, no personal data was in, but I wouldn't want personal data being used to train AI models. I don't trust it at this point. It's too early. And if I did, let me opt into it and let me opt in certain channels on Slack. Don't just give this weird opt-out methodology.
Yeah, I mean, I found out through another author friend of mine that both of our books were used to train some AI. There was an article, I think, in the Washington Post about this, how like 100,000 books were used to train AI. And I never opted into that.
Where's the lawsuit?
But I don't know. My publisher didn't know about it even. I didn't get a royalty check from it. Neither did my friend. She didn't get any money from it either.
No, but it knows what pages. We say. Remember, we tested.
Yeah, we tested. Yeah, so we tested this. We used OpenAI, and we asked ChatGPT to summarize specific page numbers from my book, and it could do it. So like it has my book's content and so many other books' content.
How's that allowed?
I don't know.
That was never published for public. If I put something on Stack Overflow or Reddit or whatever, and they trained on that, that feels like it's fair game because it's public information, and I'm not too butthurt on that. The idea
like
that
all my blog
stuff,
posts, I wouldn't care.
Well, yeah, imagine if they took my like the courses I sell or the courses, the MailChimp course used to, like. Imagine if they trained it on that, a premium course, and like, oh yeah, we've got information from it, and then you can get it from their AI. Yeah. It's weird. How is that okay? The book's exactly the same. You have to pay for your book. It's not available for free. Yeah. It's odd.
And it's copyrighted. Like it literally has a copyright that I figured my publisher would try to enforce a bit better, but they don't.
Can you not enforce it? Do they own the IP? How does it work?
I don't know. I know for my self-published books.
Step one. Who owns the
step
IP?
Step one, understand. I know for my own books, I own that, and I've like registered those books with like the Library of Congress and the Canadian government somehow. I don't remember. This was years ago, but yeah, for Company of One, I don't even remember how all that even works, but I know that the large language models don't own the IP for my book. So
yeah, that is. I mean, it might be worth doing something. I just wonder how many people have been screwed this way. Yeah, the authors might not even know about it. That's definitely odd.
Why? I didn't know about it. I was reading I'm on my friend's newsletter, and she was talking about how her book was used to train AI without her permission, and I was like, I wonder if my book has. And like the only reason I know about it is because I read the newsletter about it. And then I went the Washington Post. So the Washington Post did have a list of all the books used. They've since taken it down. Like they linked to like a database dump of all of the books used, but I can't find that anymore on the internet.
Might be a good piece of content to figure out, going through some of the popular books and see if they're in the system, and then write about here are 100 books that OpenAI has stolen, because they have it stolen. I mean, I could go on forever. That is actually where the ethics of AI is very clear to me. We can get into trained on public information and whatever and everything else, but to take private stuff and train it and then provide it for your paid service is unhinged. That's clear cut. That's easy peasy in my mind.
And then there's also what's her name, Charlotte Johansson. Sam Altman, allegedly, the story goes that he asked if they could use her voice, which is a great voice, for some new version of ChatGPT. She thought about it, said no. And then they released a version of it that sounded like her, so much so that her friends and family apparently contacted her and was like, oh, I thought you weren't going to do this. And she's like, what? I didn't do this. Yeah. And then it sounds a lot like her. Like I've listened to a clip of it. It does sound like her. I don't know what happened with that. I don't know if they took it down or they removed it.
Stories. They did. They disabled it.
Yeah. But like that seems kind of sketch as well. Like it just seems like all of these AI, these new generation of AIs are kind of like, it's kind of muddy. Like what about training on art? The same thing. Like if ChatGPT is going to paint something for me and I say, make it in the style of Picasso, does that have like is generated? Sure. But it learned off of something else. Like, and is that different than me trying to learn how to paint and painting in the style of Picasso? Right. Like,
and also someone like, what's his face? Mike Ross off of Suits with what's it called? The variation of autism where they can remember everything. Savant? Something like that. Yeah. So someone like, could it be a savant can remember every single part of your book and you can't sue them for remembering your book? Yeah. Right? And maybe that's how the law is looking at it. Mike Ross off of Suits could recite, he could tell you what's on page, whatever.
Yeah, I think he just had a like photographic memory, so he could recall things as images.
It's a savant. I'm sure it's a savant.
Something like that. Yeah,
email
I would buy that.
.com if you're.
I'm going to use AI to blank that out
to forward them to me.
Yeah.
Okay, Sam Altman gives me a vibe. I talk about this, and I'm a bit cocky, but I do get when I meet someone or I talk to someone, I can get a vibe off of them really quickly, and I have like a sixth sense about people. I don't know, like a mixture of eyes, a mixture of the mannerisms, and I can pattern match. And he gives me, I would not work with him. I would not work for him because of the vibe he gives me. It's a very in my opinion, psychopath-like vibe.
Yeah, I can see
Just
that.
it's odd, and I don't like it.
I just think that he kind of gives the vibe of a lot of high up people in tech where their hubris and ego, like, I don't think he wants to destroy the world, right?
He wants power.
But yeah, and I think that what he wants his to be the best, right? And I think that in doing so, that it's that move fast and break things bullshit mentality of just like, the consequences, will deal with the consequences of the ramifications of our actions later. For now, we just want to move fast. We want to be the first. We want to be the best. We want to be the thing that revolutionizes an industry, kind of thing. And I think that in doing so, it's just it has an inherent risk, not just to the company, but for something like AI, to like humanity in general. Right. So like, I just think, and that's kind of like the opposite of the way that like we work at Fathom. And I think we should probably talk about like our thoughts on Fathom and our software and our customers' data and how that relates to AI and modeling and all of that.
Yeah, I was going to say as well that X just raised $6 billion in their Series B, XAI. So that's going to be interesting. I think Musk wants to compete with. I think he's. And this is it. You don't know what's true anymore. But the lawsuit is that OpenAI was meant to be open for the benefit of humanity, right?
Yeah.
And now
And
it's
that's
just
why
like
Elon was
Microsoft.
involved in the first place.
Yeah, Elon's. So my vibe on Elon is different to Altman. I have a more positive vibe with Elon. But I mean, like in our house, if you look at policies in terms of what we value, human trafficking and protecting kids is number one.
Yeah.
And then you see the work that X is doing with all of that stuff. They're doing far more than Jack Dorsey. When Jack Dorsey was in charge, they weren't doing as much, and kids were trafficked easier, and all of this stuff is what we're reading. Allegedly, I'll say to cover my statement, allegedly. But now you read the reports from X, and they're using all kinds of technology, including AI, I believe, to protect kids and to stop human trafficking on their platform. And I think that's a good thing. So if this funding into XAI is then going to help that and help protect people, then I'm excited, cautiously excited. I mean, there's a balance, isn't there? You can be excited about the tech, and then you can also see the risks. Like with AI, I get excited about companies like Thorn. I think, they can pattern match the rooms that a kid was in that they need to try and save, and I get excited about that kind of stuff. But then there are always going to be downsides of technology. I mean, look at the internet, what it enables us to do, and then look at all the bad things that can happen because of the internet. There's always going to be the yin and the yang with regards to new technology. And I don't know how we can try and regulate it to an extent to try and protect people. I mean, we do. We regulate the internet. You can't DDoS people. You can't do this and that. So it has to be regulated in some way, but then how much regulation is too much? You look at the EU and they just, you can sneeze and they want to regulate you for sneezing. It's kind of extreme. But then is the US too lax on the regulation? Well, they regulated TikTok.
Yeah, but I mean, I think they regulate. I think what they say they're doing to regulate things is different than what's actually happening. Like, I think with TikTok, it wasn't to stop a foreign government from like knowing things, when like Google spies on everybody, Meta spies on everybody. Like, all of these companies do that.
Yeah.
So,
all right. So you brought up Fathom and Fathom AI. Like, what's that going to look like? Like, people bring this up to me as well. Generative AI. What are you thinking? What are you thinking? At the moment, we have enough things that we can release and are working on to make things better before AI comes into play. I feel strongly that we should not be sending any data. Say, for example, like, first of all, it would always be opt-in. The idea that we'd ever feed that data into, even if it's, the data is anonymous and then you can actually work out whose website it is, we're never going to do that. If it was an opt-in feature, the only way I can see us doing it would be if we self-hosted our own models, or through Amazon or something. The idea of training this centralized model doesn't appeal to me, even if customers opted in.
yeah, I agree.
I've seen some of Meta allows you to self-host their open source thing, and I think that's great. But I refuse to help train a centralized model with customer data, even if they opt in.
Yeah, it seems antithetical to us caring about privacy.
Yeah, no, honestly, it does. But we can build stuff. I don't want to get into too much detail, but we have talked about improving the surfacing of analytics from your analytics, right? Making it more proactive. We can definitely do stuff like that. I do think we have more features ahead of that are going to offer a lot more. And who knows, AI, the sky's the limit. We're keeping our eyes open and we're not being naive about it, but we're also being careful as to what we rush into, because we don't have investors saying to us, we need AI. What are you doing for AI? We don't have that.
And almost no customers have asked either, right?
Have
like customers
have
been asking for Teams more than anybody asking for any generative AI stuff.
So we're shipping what customers want, and that's exactly it. Yeah, I mean, that feels better.
I do think as well, there's a lot of software now that just has AI for the sake of AI is like a buzzword. So like GitHub's Copilot makes sense. AI in that model works, and I understand why it exists. Some of the other software that I use is just like, oh, you can use AI. And like I try it and it's just such garbage. Like I think that yes, AI has come a long way in the last even 5 years, but I still think there are spots where it's just dumb. Like it doesn't make sense, and it's there because it's like when Bitcoin was a craze. It's like people could pay for pizzas with Bitcoin, and it's like, can you do that? Of course you can. Should you do that? Probably not. Does it make sense? I don't know about that. So,
yeah, no, I completely agree.
Yeah.
AI is definitely interesting, and it's going to be interesting to watch. I think we should be mindful of things that can go wrong, but also where it can be beneficial. The whole thing of AI is going to replace developers is fascinating. I really do see it as a tool, and we'll never say never, right? Because you can build some awesome stuff and things get better. But based on what I've seen right now, I had someone the other day ask me, how is it going to affect programming, your job and everything? And I said to them, have you used it? And this is a non-programmer. It's not even close to replacing programmers. I mean, there'd have to be so many improvements. It would have to become a real person, because programmers, a big part of programming is actually communication and empathy. And I don't know if AI has true empathy yet.
It also does programming wrong. All the time, even for like shit that I do, like CSS and HTML, it will literally give me code that doesn't work all the time. And then I'll say, hey, this code doesn't work. Then they'll rewrite it. But then it's like, well, why didn't you write it the right way in the first place? Like, why do I have to ask you? Yeah. Even math stuff. I've got it to like crunch some numbers and it's incorrect. And I'm like, are you sure this is right? And then it checks and it's like, no, actually, this is the number. I'm like, how did you not get there in the first?
It's funny, that actually really annoys me when it does that, because I'm thinking, you literally are a supercomputer. How can you make such a basic error? That's why you need to programming. It gives you the wrong code and it forgets something. I mean, I tried it one time for something and it built an infinite loop, and then I pointed out and it goes, oh yeah, you're right. Like, what do you mean I'm right? I mean, what's the point? Why do I even talk to you? This is me moaning about literally a software program I'm moaning at here, but honestly, I don't use it much. I use it occasionally in the editor when I'm writing basic stuff. I can trust it for basic, boring stuff, something that a super junior developer could do. Yeah. But if it's anything that's past the realm of the basics, I don't trust it. And I think the people that get super hyped up on it, like I've not seen a super, not to kind of gatekeep here, but a super and senior engineer going, wow, this thing is doing my job. It's not.
No. And I mean, even things like when I've had to do support, when our support person's away, and like just somebody will ask a question like, I want to create a custom event that does this. And it's like, I don't know JavaScript as well as HTML, CSS. So I can get ChatGPT to tell me, this is how events work in Fathom. This is what I want to accomplish, how to do it. And then I can test it and then it works. And then I can use that. So in cases like that, it can be super useful. Even in things like, I use it in Grammarly quite a bit. Like if I'm writing an article, to say like, okay, what did I miss? What are some of the main points that I didn't cover? Where are the gaps? And so I would say half the time it's garbage, but half the time it's like, oh, that is something that I should have brought up in the article, or this is a different way to talk about this that makes sense. But it's still such a crapshoot. Like, I still think it's still not nearly smart enough to do half the things it thinks that it can do, which is the problem. It thinks it can basically do anything. And then it does so many things incorrectly, but it thinks that it's correct all the time.
It disappoints you.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, we should wrap this up. That is our AI. I honestly, I have not got a lot of stuff to say about AI. It is a tool, and I'm not as passionate and excited about it as a lot of people clearly are.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see if there's anything we can do to deliver value to our customers down the road. But yeah, for now,
in a privacy focused way that doesn't give all of our customers data to some AI engine to train on.
No, I was actually going to suggest we export our database to SQL and upload the whole database. Done. Easy peasy.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, all the billing information too.
We get
just so it can tell us what type of customers we should go after in the future.
It's so bad. You joke and I joke, but someone has definitely done that. You just know they have.
Yeah.
Awful.
All right. Well, yeah. We're on that horribly disappointing note, we can end this episode. And thank you, everybody, for listening.